Welcome. I'm Brent with the Hometown Property Group, and today we're going to be doing a real estate market update for the first half of 2022 in Prescott, Arizona. And we're also going to go over what our predictions are for the rest of this year. So the number one question I get asked as a real estate agent is, hey Brent, how's the market? The short answer is that it's still a seller's market. However, let's dive into the stats. I can show you where the market's been, where it's at today, and where it's going through the rest of the year. Well, where we think it's going. Anything can happen at any time to derail that, but we'll get into that later. All right, so the first thing we're going to look at is the inventory over last year and then also what it's doing so far this year. In order to understand a buyer's versus a seller's market or what a balanced market is, you need to know inventory as far as sales versus new listings that come on versus what we call total active listings. So as you can see in this chart here, if you want to follow along with my cursor, hopefully you can see that up here. You can see at the beginning of 2021, there was about 100 active listings on the market. All of this data is based on single family homes in Prescott, Arizona that are already existing. So I cut out the new construction and I did not include manufactureds either. It's going to be site-built homes in Prescott. So there's about 100 on market. The beginning of 2021, as you can see through the year, inventory actually rose and peaked out in July at just under 200 homes active on market. And then by December, it fell back down to right around 100 homes on market. And the reason that inventory fluctuated so much is because you can see the difference between new listings hitting the market and in the line in blue, and then what has sold in the line in orange. Very important to pay attention to this graph or these numbers, because anytime you have something like what happened in April or May, where you had more new listings hitting the market than there were recorded sales, that is going to leave some excess or some surplus inventory in the market, which is going to bump up active listings. So because of those 2 months there, that's why we jumped up, from April being just over 100 up to, about 150 in June. The second half of the year, you can also see the inverse or the opposite was in play, where the number of houses sold was actually up higher than the number of new listings hitting the market, which means that we are going to have a decrease in total listings. So you can see here through the end of the year, inventory drops off from just under 200 in August, down to just over 100 in November. So that's 2021. Really we're doing a market update on 2022. I just needed to explain that so you'll understand what's happening this year. We're going to go to Prescott AZ Inventory 2022. So for 2022, we started off the year right around 100 homes, active listings. You'll notice this chart, I changed it up a little bit. The active listings is actually in red. New listings hitting the market and sold listings were all around that same 100 mark there. However, as we got into February and through the, between February and now in this year, we have seen the numbers change quite a bit. New listings hitting the market since February has been a higher number month over month versus sold listings this year. What that means is that inventory has been increasing at an increasing rate throughout 2022 so far. Active listings or inventory is in red here. So you can see March, we hit that 100 mark. April, May, June, it's just been skyrocketing. And then now as of June, we are over 300 units available or 300 homes available on the market to choose from. So what this is telling us is that the inventory is increasing. Like I said, at an increasing rate. The line in pink here is the trend line for listings or active listings on market, and what it's trending towards through the rest of the year as of the first half of this year's numbers is that we should break the 500 mark, sometime probably in November or the beginning of December for total active homes for sale on market. Now you ask me, what does that mean? Why do I care how many homes are on market? Well, if you're a buyer, that means you have more options to choose from. That means there's going to be less bidding wars. So you're not going to be showing up at the same house that another buyer showing up at the same time or competing with making offers on the same house at the same time. Because right now we are still seeing a little bit of competition but it wasn't anywhere near the competition it was at the beginning of this year. Another trend line that we need to pay attention to here is this blue trend line, which is going to be new listings. So based on the data from this year so far, we're expecting to hit probably somewhere around 350 new listings hitting the market in December based on this trend line. However, this is why you have to go back further than 6 months, because the trends in Prescott are a little bit different. Let's go back to that data. You can see with new listings peaked in the summertime and then started rolling off by the end of the year and flattened back out to 100. So I'm not going to say go by this trend line. If anything, we might see this trend line decrease a little bit from where it's at now. Obviously, I think we are going to see new listings hitting the market. I don't think it's going to go back down to 100 by the end of the year. But we'll just have to keep an eye on that and monitor that. That's very important, because if the new listing count flattens out or comes back down, that's going to decrease the number of active listings, or the rate that active listings on the market are increasing, which is then going to change what type of a market we are in. The last trend line here I have is sold listings. So you can see throughout this year, it started about 100. Right now, it's about 130 units as of June, or 130 transactions, homes sold as of June. Let's go back to the data from last year. You can see we were up to 200, almost 200, not 200. We were up to like 180, 190 here in June. Started to flatten out and then started to roll back off or slow back down as the winter months came up. So if we go based on the same kind of a trend as last year, we are down in units sold over last year. So you can see, houses are not selling as quickly, or as many houses are being sold as there were last year. This most likely has a big part to play with interest rates, which we'll get into that later. So what we can expect for sold listings or homes sold is maybe for it to flatten out or to go back down to that 100 mark by December. So now that we've gone over the inventory and explained that a bit, let's look at the housing supply. So what housing supply is if I take the number of homes that are sold in a month. So here, this example is June, right? So you're about, 125 homes were sold in June, but our active listings is over 300. What you do is you take the active listings number and then you divide it by the number of sales. And what that tells me is, okay, in this many months, we're going to run out of inventory if we don't have any more houses or new listings, this trend line in blue, hit the market, which isn't going to happen, but that's how we factor it out from a real estate standpoint. What we really want to see is we want to see this active listings number be anywhere from 5 to 7 times the number of units sold, which tells us that you've got an inventory supply of 5 to 7 months of inventory. We call that a balanced market. That's when homes usually sell for list price. Sometimes the sellers will do concessions. The sellers might throw in a home warranty. That's a balanced market, right? A balanced and fair market. Well, so long as houses are priced correctly. There are realtors out there that overprice houses, and that's when you see a lot of price reductions. So we should start seeing some price reductions through the rest of this year, because there definitely are homes on the market that are overpriced today. Now that you understand how that works, we're going to go to housing supply. The reason this is so important is because 5 to 7 months, like I said, tells us that we're in a balanced market. These are the stats through this year so far. You can see as of February, so the inventory months of supply in orange is this year and blue is last year. So last year, we were just over a month supply. It dipped down to being below a 1 month supply, and it is kind of feathered around that 1 month supply line. And then starting this year, we were at 1 month supply. It's gone down a little bit, March, April, but May, June, it says July. Sorry, my chart's a bit off here. This should say January, so that's all off by 1 month. Anyways. So June, you're looking at over a 2 month supply. So supply has been increasing at an increasing rate, which means that we have more months of supply in inventory, which tells me that, okay, we're still below this 5 month mark here. So we're definitely still in a very big seller's market here. But once we surpass this 5-month mark, we're going to be in a balanced market. It's very important because as a buyer and a seller both, you need to know what kind of market we're in. Being that we're in a seller's market right now, the upper hand is still to the sellers because of the lack of inventory. Even though we are starting to see some price reductions and we're starting to see some buyers not having to compete or putting in an offer, not having 3, 5, 10 other offers on the table at the same time. Which is nice for the buyers because you can come in with an offer at list price and hope to get it accepted instead of having to come in 10, 15, 20 grand over list price. In some instances, we're also seeing sellers offering concessions. What a concession is example is a seller says, hey, if you buy my house, I will, I'll give you 5 grand towards your closing costs, or I'll throw in X amount of dollars towards buying your interest rate down, or I'll give you a home warranty. Those type of things are concessions, and they're things that we're starting to see sellers throw back into deals. Shoot, we haven't seen this since really 2020. The mid 2010s, so 2015, 16, 17, 18. We were seeing a lot of this. It was a very balanced market back then. We were seeing sellers paying for closing costs at a full price offer, giving home warranties, and doing other things creative that way. So now that we've interpreted this data and we know that we're still in a seller's market, this data also affects what we call days on market. So let's go to that chart. You can see in blue, the days on market, for some reason it was real high. We have an anomaly, the beginning of 2021, but it dropped down and was less than 20 days on market through most of the year. Popped back up to October to 20, dropped back down less than 10 in November. So it fluctuates. But what days on market means is the days that the house is actually active in the MLS or active for sale before it goes under contract, right? The good houses are gone in 2, 3, 4 days. There are some out there that are not priced correctly. They're overpriced, or they might smell, or there's at least a dozen things that pop in my head with listings of why they won't sell right away. I'm not going to go over all those, but that's why we see this average line be higher than 10 days most of the time, is because you have those listings that are sitting on market for longer than the average. They're sitting, 30 days, 45 days, 60 days. Some sellers are just fishing, throwing high prices out there and seeing what they can get. So that's what's happened in 2021. 2022, we can see average days on market has kind of popped from just over 10 to about 15, dropped below 10 for a couple months, and now it's starting to trend upward. My prediction for the rest of this year is that as inventory increases and supply increases, we're also going to see days on market go up and increase as well, because buyers have more houses to choose from. They're not going to be as eager to jump on the first house that checks all their boxes. They might wait a day or two in order to see if something else pops up that they like better. However, if you're a buyer, I don't recommend that, because there's no guarantee that a house that you like better is going to pop up on the market. As a buyer, you always have to have the mentality of the house that you saw today is the house that somebody else saw yesterday, thought about last night, and they're writing an offer on today. So keep that in mind. So with all this being said, let's get to the real thing that you're interested in, which is going to be home prices and what they've been doing. So we can see average prices. This is average sold prices of single family homes in Prescott, not including new construction. January of blues last year, 2021. So as January average price was about $550. You can see through the year, it kind of came up, went down a little bit. We hit June, so a year ago, and it spiked up over 600, dropped back down below slightly in November, skyrocketed into December about 700, pick up the beginning of 2022 or this year, it's below 700, about that 670, 675 range, 675, jumped up. So there must have been a couple $1 million sales that happened in March, dropped back down to 700, went back up in May, and then in June dropped back down to right around 680. So that's the mark we're at now. Predictions for the end of the year, you can see this orange bar here, this orange line is the price trend based on the data so far for the first 6 months of the year. The trend line is saying that it's going to keep going up. However, knowing how quickly inventory is coming on and the days of market is increasing, I doubt that's going to go up like that. My personal prediction through the rest of this year is that it's probably going to go up a little bit more. We'll probably crest the 700 mark, and then it'll balance out as we get to November, December of this year. So all that being said, right now, average home price is about 680, and then trending upward and then flattening out through the end of the year is my prediction. Probably somewhere just over 700. Now that we have an understanding of where the real estate market's been in 2022 for Prescott and an idea of where it's going, let's get an update on the loan market because that goes hand in hand with buying a house. I gotta make a phone call real quick.
Hey Brent, what's going on?
Greg, how's it going?
Good, man. What you up to?
I'm putting together a real estate market update for the first half of this year and could really use your help. Are you down?
Yeah, man. Why don't you come on down? We'll get this going.
You're the man. I'll be there in 3.
3? No problem. See you in 3.
Thanks. On my way.
Dude,
What's
3?
up?
3
Yeah.
minutes? 3 seconds?
3 seconds.
What do you got? Go gadget legs?
Yes, heck yeah, dude. Keller Williams just down the road. Yeah, so I'm putting a YouTube video together, going over market stats, what's happened so far in the first half of 2022. We've already gone over the real estate stuff, but I'm not a lender. I don't have a loan officer's license or lending license like you do. Sure. So that's what I need your help with, man.
Awesome. I'd love to help you.
Cool. So first question is, what have you seen so far this year on the lender side of things?
Well, it's been an interesting year. It's been wild. It's been a roller coaster. We've seen rates. Everybody wants to know what rates have done, right? They've seen it. Rates gone from 3 to 3.25% end of December 2021 to 6.25% today.
Wow.
A big factor in that. I mean, let's just talk about affordability, and we'll talk about why that is, right?
Yeah.
Affordability. I mean, you're looking at a $600,000 purchase back end of December. Your payment, just principal and interest, was $2,088 a month. Today at 6.25%, you're looking at $2,955 a month. So it went, your payment went up 42%.
Holy crap.
And that doesn't, we haven't even talked about appreciation of what home values have done.
Yeah.
Looking at inflation. Gosh, January 2021, we're at 1.5% inflation. Fast forward to January 2022, we're at 7.5% inflation. Mm-hmm. Then fast forward to May, we were at 8.6% increase, up to 8.6%. Numbers just came out for June. We're at 9.1%, and that should peak, right? That should peak end of fourth quarter, or somewhere in the fourth quarter at over 10% this year. What does inflation do, right?
Yeah, how does that affect affordability when it comes to houses? I mean, I know that eggs and milk and bread and all those things are going up. Gas,
right?
Gas has doubled. That's all things that we see readily every day that inflation has directly affected. But how does that play into, like, when I'm getting a loan?
Sure. Well, inflation is the arch enemy of bonds. Bonds drive mortgage rates. You've heard of mortgage-backed securities.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's the mortgages that we do for people. They're bundled up and sold to the secondary markets with the investors. Well, that hurts values of bonds. Inflation hurts values of bonds. So when inflation goes up, mortgage rates go up. So what the feds are trying to do is battle or combat inflation by increasing the Fed funds rate. While you increase the Fed funds rate, that is supposed to help bring back down and settle down inflation, which would then help your mortgage rates come down. If the Feds raise, like they're planning on to, end of July, 1% instead of 75 basis points or 0.75%,
Yeah.
That's going to help us a lot, because the last time they did it in mid-June, rates came down a little bit. We were upper sixes. We came down to low sixes, almost at 6% range for a little bit here, and it's been pretty steady and subdued. But as inflation numbers continue, this could potentially roll us into a recession. But you already know the GDP's been negative 2 quarters in a row. Copper, an unknown leading source, has been a decrease for some time, which is a recessionary trait. Gasoline, jobs should come down soon. Like, it's gonna, it's coming. All the signs are there. So in a recession, then rates would come down and potentially have another refinance boom.
So what have rates done this year so far? Looking back to January to now, which we're in July.
Yeah, 3.25 end of December. Right now, 6.25%.
Wow.
Yeah, they've doubled.
Yeah.
Basically. And you can expect your payment from that time to be up 43%.
Yeah.
So if you had a $2,000 payment, you're at almost a $3,000 payment now.
Wow.
For the same scenario, 600,000, 20% down.
So are you seeing buyers still being able to get pre-approved even though rates are this high? Are they still being able to qualify? I know there's things called DTI or debt to income ratio. Is that affecting these for these buyers with the rates this high?
Sure, and inflation kills borrowers' purchasing power because rates have come up, right? So if rates go up, your purchasing power goes down. So that same $600,000 purchase is probably somewhere now like a $450 purchase in the same monthly rate, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But what the smart buyers are doing, or the educated buyers are doing today, is they have a game plan. They're making sure they're not getting into debt. They're not going to get a brand new car before they see a mortgage lender. They're not getting huge installment loans. They're not racking up credit card debt. Things that will affect your overall debts. You want to have those debts very, very low so that you can absorb more of a payment on the debt to income ratio.
Okay.
That debt to income ratio is basically all your debts and your proposed payment divided by your income, and that's a ratio we use to approve people.
Are you seeing like the same amount of buyers coming in to get pre-approved? Are you seeing a little bit of a slowdown? Are you seeing an increase? What are you seeing from the lender side of it when it comes to buyers coming in and talking to you about getting pre-approved?
Yeah, I mean, nationally, there's a 17% decrease for application for a mortgage. Here, what I'm feeling is leads have decreased in May 30%, June 50%, July 50%. So we're down 50% in leads, but contracts or applications were only down about 20%.
Okay.
So there is definitely a slowdown. People are more hesitant because they see the payment. They're not used to it because we've been spoiled at 3% for 3 years.
Yeah.
Right? It's free money, right? But these rates are still good because, believe it or not, 2018, 2019, we are at 5.5%. So that's not a huge jump. It's not a huge jump. We just have to get used to it again.
Yeah.
It's here. It's not going away.
Well, when you look at the trend lines for the last 20, 30 years, 6%'s not too far out of average, right?
Yeah, average 8%.
Yeah, so below average still.
Yeah.
Over like a 20, 30 year span.
For sure. For sure.
I know you don't have a crystal ball, and I'm not going to hold your feet to the fire on this.
I appreciate that.
But you definitely have a lot of insight in lending, and you've been in this business for a while. What do you see, or based on the current trends, based on news that's coming out recently, like you said, inflation's at over 9% now that they released this morning.
Yeah.
What is your prediction, or what are your thoughts that you could see happening between now, which we're in July, through the end of 2022?
Well, by the analysts, and all I can do is be a parrot right now, because there's a lot of people that are just way smarter than me. And I listen to Harry Habib, he's, crystal ball winner multiple years in a row. But basically what he's saying is, hey, we're going to see peak inflation end of fourth quarter. If we know inflation is going to go up, what happens, Brent? Interest rates go up.
Yep.
So we're going to see interest rates continue to climb probably through that peak. Once that recession hits and all the analytics and the government says, yes, we're here, we'll start seeing rates come down. 9 out of 9 recessions rates have come down. So analysts, again, saying somewhere in the first quarter, up to 2 years out, we'll start seeing the rates somewhere in there, wide range, start to ease back down a little bit. But there's a lot of factors to still taking place. We still have global economies, global inflation, recessionary fears in the global world. So we'll just have to wait it out. The best things people can do right now are save as much money as possible, don't get into debt, and have a game plan for the future. You know, meeting with a lender to see how's my credit, what are some of the pitfalls, what do I have to fix, what's my debt to income ratio, what's my affordability factor, and really just and how much money do I have to save? Because now, you know, we'll need in some cases you'll need reserves.
So your thoughts on the rest of the year? What would you say, or what have you heard that rates may go up to by the end of this year? I mean, are we looking at 10%? Are we looking at not quite that high? You know, have you heard anything?
You know what? If rates continue the way they've continued and kind of plateaued mid-year by the Fed's action, the Fed's good action, little late, but the Fed's good action of raising the Fed funds rate to combat inflation, if they do this again a few more times, it'll kind of keep it stable. But we could see 7.5% potentially.
Okay. That's not as bad as 10.
And
with a long-running average being 8, you're still, you know, at or below the long-running average.
Yeah, and who knows? Something could get twisted with the administration, and you know, if things just take off. But if they're going to continue to do what they're doing, we should see a nice increase, not a double from like January to June.
Okay.
We should just to see a small increase there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, if someone was interested in learning more about this or taking advantage of rates before they go up even more, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
Sure. I know you put my information down there.
Yep. Yeah, we'll drop a link below to all your information.
But you can go to gregriordan.com, GREGRIORDAN.com to find me. My number's on there, 928-201-1151. And then, of course, you can email me at teamgreg@nfmlending.com.
Okay, awesome. Well, I know you got a busy day ahead of you, so I'll let you go. I'll run back to the Keller Williams office and get this wrapped up.
Strava.
So, Strava. Thanks, Greg. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate you too.
Yep.
All right, that's a wrap on our market update video. I really hope that you found some of this information useful. If you have any questions about the data on the real estate side or just real estate questions in general, please reach out to me. My name is Brent. If you have any questions about the lending information that was shared in this video, please reach out to Greg. Our contact information will be listed below. If you're still watching at this point, please smash the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to our channel to keep up to date on the latest from Prescott, Arizona. And thanks for watching.